Chaos Theory, the Butterfly Effect. From the United States to Brazil in 10 steps. Global chain. A programmer in New York makes a coding error and crashes a banking system. A businessman in Canada loses access to his account and cancels an equipment purchase. The supplier in Mexico lays off workers due to lack of orders. A laid-off worker cancels a trip to Guatemala. The hotel in Guatemala offers a last-minute discount. A tourist from Costa Rica takes advantage of the discount and travels. At the hotel, he meets a Colombian investor and closes a deal. The investor cancels a partnership in Ecuador to fund the new business. An Ecuadorian factory loses the contract and shuts down. The factory owner moves to Peru and cancels an investment in Brazil. A Brazilian startup goes bankrupt. It all started with a typo in New York, United States, Manhattan, FinTech Corp, office, 3:47 a.m., Tuesday. Kevin, a 29-year-old programmer, is finalizing an urgent update to the banking system. He is exhausted. Cold coffee, red eyes. He types a line of code, but he makes a tiny mistake. He swaps a 1 for an L. The system doesn't detect it. He deploys the update, goes home to sleep. At 9 a.m., when the market opens, the system crashes. Thousands of bank accounts remain inaccessible for 6 hours. Toronto, Canada. Office on Bay Street, 10:15 a.m., Tuesday. Richard, a Canadian businessman, tries to make an urgent bank transfer of $2 million to buy industrial equipment from Mexico. The system doesn't respond. He calls the bank. "Technical problem, sir. Please wait." But Richard can't wait. The Mexican supplier gave him a deadline until noon. 11:30 a.m. The system is still down. Richard misses the deadline. The supplier cancels the sale and offers the equipment to another buyer, Ciudad Juarez, Mexico, Northern Industrial Components Factory. 2:00 p.m., Tuesday. The manager, Carlos, receives the news. The sale to Canada has been canceled. It was the biggest contract of the quarter. Without it, the factory doesn't have the cash flow to pay salaries. Carlos calls an emergency meeting. Painful decision. Lay off 15 workers. Among them is Miguel, 34, father of 3. Miguel had been saving for a year to take his family to Guatemala for the upcoming holiday. Dream shattered. He cancels everything. Antigua, Guatemala. Hotel Colonial Casa Santo Domingo. 4:00 p.m., Tuesday. The manager, Elena, receives Miguel's cancellation. 5 empty rooms right in the peak season. Big loss. Elena goes into desperation mode, posts a 40% discount on tourism platforms for Central America. The promotion is highlighted for users in Costa Rica. In San Jose, a businessman sees the offer while having breakfast. San Jose, Costa Rica. Apartment in Escazú. 8:00 a.m., Wednesday. Diego, a 38-year-old tech entrepreneur, sees the hotel promotion in Guatemala. He was planning to take a break but never found the right place. 40% off at a historic hotel? Perfect. He books for the weekend, packs his bags, travels. At the hotel, during Sunday breakfast, he sits next to an elegant man with a Colombian accent who is reading the Financial Times. Antigua, Guatemala, Hotel Colonial. Breakfast room, 9:30 a.m., Sunday. Diego and the Colombian, Andres, start talking. Andres is an investor in renewable energy startups. Diego mentions he is developing low-cost solar panel technology. Andres is immediately interested. 3 hours of conversation later, they have a deal. Andres will invest $3 million in Diego's company. But there's a problem. Andres had already committed that capital to another project. 3:00 p.m. Monday, Andres calls his partner in Ecuador. Ramon, I need to cancel our investment in Equisolar. I found a better opportunity in Costa Rica. Ramon, stunned, tries to negotiate. Andres, we already signed a letter of intent. The factory is counting on this. But Andres is firm. Business is business. I'm out. The $2.5 million contract is canceled. In Quito, Ramon knows his factory won't survive. Quito, Ecuador. Equa Solar Factory. 10 a.m. Tuesday, Ramon calls a meeting. Without the Colombian investment, the factory closes. 60 employees laid off. Ramon is devastated. He decides to start over from scratch in another country where he has family. Peru. He sells everything and moves. But before that, he had a commitment to invest in a promising startup in Brazil, which he met at a tech fair. Now, without capital, he cancels. Exio Lima, Peru. Apartment in Miraflores. 7:00 p.m. Wednesday. Ramon is organizing his move when he calls Bruno, founder of the Brazilian startup Sol Brazil in São Paulo. Bruno, I'm sorry, I won't be able to invest. My company went bankrupt. Bruno feels his blood run cold. He was counting on that $1 million investment to expand operations. It was the last chance. Without it, Sol Brazil has no way to continue. São Paulo, Brazil. Office in Pinheiros, 9:00 p.m. Wednesday. Bruno hangs up the phone and looks at his team of 10 people working late, confident about the future. He takes a deep breath. The next morning, he calls a meeting, announces the end. Sol Brazil is closing. 10 families without jobs. Dreams of affordable clean energy in Brazil destroyed. Bruno looks out the window. A week ago, he was celebrating. Now, it's all over. He will never know that it all started with a typo in New York. Butterfly effect? A coding error in New York? A frozen account in Toronto? A canceled purchase in Mexico? A layoff in Ciudad Juarez? A canceled trip to Guatemala? A discount taken in Costa Rica? A deal closed in Guatemala? An investment canceled in Colombia? A factory closed in Ecuador? A forced restart in Peru? A bankrupt startup in Brazil? 10 countries, 10 events, 7 days, hundreds of lives destroyed, all connected, all because of a 1 typed as an L. This is chaos. This is the butterfly effect.